Hi, friends. I'm Katie.
And I'm Lauren. And welcome to Okay, But Did You Know? A podcast where we talk about the TV and media that we love with a friend who's never seen it before.
Today, we're recapping and chatting about Bob's Burgers Season 4, Episode 11, Easy Com-Mercial, Easy Go-Mercial, and Episode 12, The Frond Files. But as always, we start off with a synopsis. So for Episode 11, Easy Com-Mercial, Easy Go-Mercial, the Super Bowl is coming up and Jimmy Pesto is already setting up his restaurant for the big event. The Belchers decide to film a commercial to air locally and bring in more customers. The family gets to work, brainstorm commercial ideas, and they call Trust Fund Baby Randy to help out. Filming doesn't go as planned, and Bob reaches out to a local retired NFL player to star in the commercial. Sandy Fry stars in the Belcher commercial and quite a few others to Bob's dismay. Gene has also been holding in his super bowel leading up to the Super Bowl. When Bob discovers Sandy starred in Jimmy Pesto's commercial too, he goes next door to speak his mind, and after he loses his temper, Gene uses the Pesto's restroom. Gene's super bowel floods Jimmy Pesto's restaurant, forcing the customers out the door. I am proud of that synopsis.
That was a good
That was
synopsis.
a good synopsis.
That was good.
But as always, the puns. What did you get for the vacant storefront?
It was fire distinguishers. Put out your fire with flair.
It's a good one. It's a good
That was
one.
a good one.
And the pest control truck?
Once mice, three times an exterminator. Which I know it's a reference to something, but I do not know what it is.
That is the Commodore song Three Times a Lady. That was written by Lionel Richie, and it's We're Once, Twice, Three Times a Lady.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I know you're happy. There's
We had burgers.
We had burgers.
There were 4 burgers, I believe. That's what I caught.
Yes, 4.
All right, which makes up for the fact that I do believe the next episode had none.
The next has none, but at least there's 4 here. So,
Yes,
it's better than nothing.
this is true. We have the Winter Munsterland burger.
With Munster cheese.
Munster cheese, which, again, solid burger special. We had the longest charred burger.
So this one's fun because it says the 1974 film. That was the first one. There's been a couple of iterations of The Longest Yard. But the film stars Burt Reynolds, which is another character that H. John Benjamin voices. Sterling Archer is a huge fan of Burt Reynolds. So
Gotcha.
It's just another little play at all the things that H. John Benjamin does.
Mm-hmm. There was the Kale Mary burger.
Served with kale.
Mm-hmm. And the Troy Oinkman burger served with bacon.
That's supposed to be from a former Dallas Cowboys quarterback. He's also a Hall of Famer. I don't know this much about football. Troy Aikman.
Okay. I knew, the name sounded familiar.
Yeah.
So
it's a football thing. It's just really funny because a couple episodes ago, we were talking about how we were in real time dealing with the Super Bowl and not really caring for it. And here's more Super Bowl.
Yay!
Sports ball.
More sports ball.
More sports ball. As baseball season just started, so I'm having a wonderful time. We love baseball, but football is not.
Baseball is at least is a sport that I understand well. I mean, I played softball when I was in elementary school.
You don't say.
No, to be fair, I played every sport because I was made to, and I was terrible at all of them.
It's just funny. But it has to be funny.
I know. Well, because I played soccer for 2 years. I played softball for two and a half years. I think I stopped midway through the 3rd season. Softball, though, quite literally, I got hurt every season, and mostly through no one's fault but my own. And then I played basketball, I want to say, for 4 or 5 years. That had more to do with the fact of my best friend was on the team. Her dad was the coach. I think we talked about this before.
Yeah, we have.
And it's kind of like dance class. We would carpool because we were on the same team. I think that's why I think I did that at least end of elementary school through middle school. I think by high school, I think I was done.
So this title is, an allusion to the phrase "easy come, easy go."
Yes.
I am very obviously not a fan of the title because it's very awkward to say.
Yeah.
It's one to be read, not to be said.
Exactly.
But that's what this is for. This is, of course, not a holiday. It's not really a holiday themed episode because I'm sorry, Super Bowl is not a holiday.
It's not a holiday.
It's the episode did air though the week before Super Bowl. Okay, what's XLVIII?
XLVIII.
It's an 8, but what's the XL is
48?
48. Okay.
Is
I
that no, actually I don't know. Don't
I
hang on.
don't
I need
know. Okay, so I'm not
48
alone in
makes
this.
sense. I'm Googling Roman numeral.
Yahoogle time. I need like a button that yells Yahoogle.
Okay, Roman numeral. Is it X?
It's XLV 3 eyes.
Okay. That's a 1, not an I. Hang on. I'm throwing in a 1 here. Yep, 48. I was
Okay,
right.
that is 48. So this aired the week before that as the show slot on Sunday night schedule. Which is very interesting that they're like, okay, the reason I find this actually really interesting is Bob's Burgers fans, we suffer through football season. We
Mhm.
suffer because the whole time we're sitting there waiting on new episodes. They don't give us new episodes. No,
No.
football is happening, and football is more important than Bob's Burgers in their eyes. And so even down to the Super Bowl, I get angry and I'm like, just give me back Bob's Burgers. That's all I ask for. I don't
Right?
want football. And so I do think it's funny. This is like the only time I think they've ever done this of like a thing. It's a cute episode. It's that there's nothing
Mhm.
wrong with it really in
No,
like
not at all.
actual opinion, but it's very ironic because most Bob's Burgers fans are not fans of the like what football does to our show because it
Yeah, I can
completely
imagine.
messes it up for us. Um, it is kind of
Which
cute.
is
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
which is interesting because Once Upon a Time was also on Sundays, but my guess is I guess ABC just doesn't air
No,
football.
ABC doesn't, but the Fox does.
Okay,
And
yeah,
so since Fox does show sports, they push Bob's Burgers to the side.
yeah.
And it's funny though because recently we've realized because I've told you plenty of times before that we watch a lot of Family Guy. They're now airing Family
Mhm.
Guy on Wednesdays, and it is completely screwing up with our brains because we're
Oh,
used to
interesting.
the animation domination nights on Sunday nights.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, with Family Guy's on Wednesday night, and we're a little confused. Like,
interesting. Yeah. Like part of me is like maybe they're doing that so that it can air its episodes, but
mm-hmm.
also when things get drastically shifted, sometimes that means that they know the show is on its way out.
See, and that's where my brain went when it started doing that because we'd sit there and be like, okay, we have Krapopolis and we'd have maybe a Bob's. Looks like we're only getting 13 seasons in season 14. Dude, probably
13
do the
episodes.
13 episodes. I'm sorry, but then Family Guy started popping up on Wednesday nights, and I looked at my husband and I'm like, what's going on? Like they don't tend to do this. And Steven was very worried. He's like, it's been on Sunday night for as long as he can remember. And it's kind of stressing us out a little bit. I don't think they would end Family Guy, but I know
Yeah.
that Seth MacFarlane is very much wanting to go back to his other show, The Orville.
Yeah.
And The Orville is like his baby. Like it's
Mhm.
what he's always wanted to do, and so I'm just and I love The Orville, like
Mhm.
amazing, phenomenal, love that show. Like it's another comfort show. I will turn it on for comfort.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm kind of like we're kind of concerned, like what's going on here.
Yeah, Wednesdays isn't necessarily a dead slot. Fridays would be more concerning if they moved
Yeah,
it to Fridays. Friday night is the slot of death. That's because that's when Once Upon a Time was on its way out. It got moved from Sundays to Friday nights because that's just no one's home
yeah.
for Fridays. So Wednesday isn't necessarily a death slot, but it's not looking great, and they might just be moving
Yeah,
it, maybe just to test to see how it's doing, to see if they could viably stop it, so Seth MacFarlane can move on.
because we haven't heard anything on the Orville in some time, and so it's just kind of
Hmm.
like or maybe if we could be lucky enough that they switch up the animation night, maybe they could finally have it where football season doesn't screw us,
Yeah,
which
so
I would, yeah.
they might be testing the waters of how animated shows do middle of the week, just so that this stops happening. Maybe.
We watch the next day on Hulu, so
Yeah, it doesn't really matter for you.
doesn't matter for us. And with Krapopolis, we'll get to it when we get to it. I think we got like 4 more episodes to watch because we don't
Hmm.
like keep up with it as well.
Yeah.
Um, so Tina does her little, hair flip in this
Yes. Very
commercial.
sexy hair flip, as I also do one with no hair.
So so she does actually get her hair flip in when the family is pretending to look up at
Mm,
Burgerzilla, she flips her
yeah.
hair.
Yeah.
Um, this is the only episode in season 4 where Jimmy Pesto speaks.
Good.
I thought you'd like that.
Wonderful.
My last little note makes me happy because I am who I am. But the scene at the end where they're flooding,
Mhm.
where everything starts getting flooding because of the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
it's a parody of The Shining, and with Andy and Ollie even holding hands, just like the Grady
Oh,
twins.
I like it.
So that was another parody moment, which we
Mhm.
love a good parody moment when it comes to Bob's Burgers.
Yeah.
But those are all my notes for my little fun
Mhm.
facts for you as we went into like we really do just need to do our coffee chats like we've talked about before. Like
Yeah, right?
or we just discuss TV because we do
In
actually
general,
watch a lot of TV.
we do. We take in a lot of media.
A lot. Oh my god. Movies, TV, podcast, music,
YouTube.
books, YouTube. Like, I don't think it's the ADHD, man. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't.
It's the neurospicy.
Yeah. So, what'd you think?
So, I mean, my first note, other than Gene, please don't create a super bowel. That's not healthy. Is
I
as we've
wrote so
established,
much poop talk.
it's not it's absolutely not healthy. But as we've established, the TV mounted on the wall of the restaurant just reminds me of those ones that are mounted on the wall in my TV. They seemed unsafe then, and and that seems unsafe
Oh
now.
yeah,
Like absolutely. Go back to Holland, you windmill is actually not a bad insult.
that's a really good one. But then you have
Honestly.
when Louise goes like Trev's soul, and just the hurt.
Hmm.
That was a good one. It was
That was a
damn.
deep cut. It's absolutely deep cut. Bob should not have been talking about killing Jimmy Pesto through his vegetables, though.
He likes to talk with his food
I see this.
a lot.
I do recognize this. This was my one line, my comment mostly about like kind of like the plot of the episode is like this is one where like he's trying to get one up on Jimmy. Yeah, the fact that this is one of the ones where he's trying to get a one up on Jimmy Pesto has me split on how I'm feeling at the moment, like early on in the episode, because like I don't like Jimmy Pesto, but I recognize that this cross street rivalry is a core gag for the show. So like as long
Hmm.
as I don't see it too much, I'm okay.
Well, as you just heard, it's the only time he speaks. I think they may do it maybe once a season.
Yeah.
I don't do it too. I have to admit, I don't think they do it too often. They got to throw it in there every now and again to remind you Jimmy Pesto's there. And
Mm-hmm.
then after January 6th, we don't see Jimmy Pesto for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're good there.
Yeah. I think we're
um,
fine.
and then the new guy, like he actually, I think he does really well. So
Okay. That's good.
you don't have to see that till like season 14.
Yeah, that's it. I got time. That's okay though. Um so was the let us meet you, is that like a reference to the human flesh of the pilot?
Um, I don't
Was it
think
meant
so.
to
I
be
think
one?
it was meant. If I remember correctly, that is the very similar line to one of the other restaurants in the area has something
Mm.
similar, like on the side of their van.
Oh, okay.
So it is not completely like Louise coming up
Mhm.
with it, but she had because she's seen it before. But it's
Yeah.
something so like you have to really know about it for it to be there.
Okay.
I can't remember if it's Reggie or Tran. I can't remember which restaurant, but
Okay.
something just similar to that.
Gotcha. And then I wrote, "Oh god, not Randy."
Yeah, I told you we'd see Randy again.
Yeah, is he also kind of like a once a season kind of return?
Not really once a season. He's more of a once in a blue moon because you don't
Okay.
see him again for a while. He's not once a
Mhm.
season though. Anytime that they are like, let's just, I want to say anytime they're like, let's bring a camera in to make some fun,
Mhm.
which sounds so bad, but he's
Okay.
he's once every in a blue like in a blue moon.
Okay.
Kind of like we see Marshmallow very rarely for maybe 2 seconds.
Mhm. Yeah,
Like
fair.
one of my favorite lines, though, and I know you know I already am going to say this, but the I didn't know our county was by. Good for us. I was like,
Uh-huh.
yes,
I wrote that down.
I love that line.
I didn't know our county was by. Which, to be fair, is a fair assumption if you don't know the meaning of the bi-county area. Which,
Hmm.
again, was that the area where there are two counties or half the county is my question.
I don't have an answer.
I don't really know how far, because again, also this is the joke that my family has with New Jersey. Because now that we do have, again, we have confirmation this is New Jersey.
Hmm.
Um, Something that people from New Jersey do a lot is they'll like when you ask them where they're from, they'll say what county they're from, which it's because truthfully like the counties themselves are not big, and same with like the towns are not that big that it honestly doesn't really make sense to say what town you're from, because you could quite literally drive down one road for like 5 minutes and technically drive through like three towns.
My God.
everything is like the municipality lines are pretty small, so that's why they say what county they're from, because it at least makes it a little bit bigger and kind of gives you a bigger area to work with. But like if you're not from the area, like, or from Jersey at all, like saying like, oh yeah, I'm from Passaic County. What?
Yeah, that doesn't work where I'm from, but I'm rural, so our counties are and our towns are huge.
Yeah.
Like, you know how long it takes me to get to the town over?
Mm-hmm. Like going to where I was going for the holiday this past weekend. I think I only drove through 2 counties, but I got off the exit in one town and drove through easily through 3 different municipalities. And if I made a left, I would have ended up somewhere completely different.
I think today alone, doing my errands, I drove through 4 different counties.
Mm.
And that was a 45 minutes away from me, so
Okay. This was also, I will say, I'm in that area of New York where you could quite literally drive for for not a very long amount of time in any direction other than north and end up in a different state. Like I'm in like the quad state area of like
ah,
Connecticut, of like New York, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. Like truthfully, like driving into Jersey is nothing. That's I go there
where
just to
I'm
go to certain restaurants
from,
because it's like
that's how
25
it
minutes
is.
away.
Like, for where I'm actually from, not where I live, is how it
Yeah,
is though. Like driving over into South Carolina, so
yeah,
like that's where my job is.
exactly. Yeah,
So
exactly. So it's like driving across state lines. Like I was talking to someone about going to a Wegmans. I'm like, yeah, I think the closest one to me is New Jersey. And they went, what do you mean New Jersey? And I'm like, okay, I say New Jersey, but like quite literally, it's less
mhm.
than a half hour away is New Jersey.
So this episode though, like you had some favorite lines. So the super bowel, I have to ask, what did you think of Jean's goal?
As someone with intestinal issues,
Yeah, same.
no, please
No,
don't
sounds like a
do not
nightmare.
take this as this is not a celebration to do for the Super Bowl. I mean, it worked out in the end, in that he got to use this power for good. But for the health of your body, please do not hold in your waste for many days. If there isn't already something else going on,
Mm-hmm.
please don't hold it in.
And so I know you don't like Jimmy Pesto.
Nope.
How do you feel about Trev?
I got nothing against him. He's just kind of like, he's the sidekick.
Yeah,
He's not really malicious. He's just kind of going along with Jimmy because that's the side he's on.
so sad.
Yeah,
Louise got him though. I was
she did.
I
That
was so
was
proud of her in that moment.
me too. I will say a mozzarella volcano does sound delicious,
Ooh,
even
yeah.
if his appetizers all sounded odd.
I tell myself that Jimmy Pesto's, while his some of his food may not be terrible, it's probably frozen.
Yeah,
I wouldn't eat there.
nope,
I don't think. So what did you,
definitely not.
what did you rate this?
So I enjoyed this episode. This one got an 8 for plot, an 8 for character, and a 9 for personal.
Not bad.
Giving it a 25. It lost plot and character, I think, just for the overall involvement of Jimmy Pesto. And it got a 9 because this was a great episode. It's not like when I compare it to like things that get 10s for other things, it's
Yeah.
not quite there. I think it's just because of the inclusion of other characters bring down the personal points. But at the end of the day, like what was the name of the football player?
Sandy Fry.
Yeah, Sandy. So like at the end of the day, like no one really backstabbed anyone. He just didn't think I shouldn't do commercials advertising in every restaurant in town. It was a well-meaning mistake.
He wanted to get into
But
acting.
he wants to get into acting, so I got nothing against him.
The way that it is, you really begin to. This is where you really start to see how Bob's kind of follows its own pattern. Like they have certain types of episodes that they do. This is one of your Jimmy Pesto episodes. Every now and again, you get a Jimmy Pesto episode where they're going at it. You've seen ones where they go away from the restaurants, one where it's very focused on like what are the kids doing right now. Like they have their own sort of
Mm-hmm.
pattern.
Yeah.
This one was lower than I expected it to be. I gave plot an 8. I like this
Okay.
plot. Character 7. Like Jimmy Pesto does. Like I'm not a fan. And
Yeah.
personal 8. So this is a 23 for me. Not super high, but I still don't think it's like bad.
Mm-hmm.
But let me go over to one that I'm very curious to see how you did with. Season 4, episode 12, The Frond Files. The kids all had to write for an event with the theme, Why I Love Wagstaff. The parents can't find the kids' projects and ask Mr. Frond where they are. Apparently, their essays were offensive. Each of the kids wrote parodies of various movies set in their school. Linda and Bob read each story, and Frond admits he is upset that he is the villain in their children's stories. I didn't want to go into like each story too heavily because I knew we would like
Oh
kind
yeah.
of discuss it through this within the synopsis because
Yeah.
that synopsis would be so freaking long,
Uh-huh.
and I'm
Well,
not
it,
doing
it's
that.
it's it's one of those things that I say with the synopses is like sometimes they're long because like there's a lot going on. The episode
Hmm.
is a lot worth talking about, and then sometimes such little happens. It's weird to leave anything out, so you end up talking about everything.
Exactly. And this is just it's parodies of movies.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and get into the puns and so the vacant storefront.
North by Northwest.
Do you understand that reference?
Is it South by Southwest?
It is Alfred Hitchcock North by Northwest.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. But the sign, there is a vest-shaped sign in the window.
Sure.
And the pest control truck.
Termite Mare on Elm Street pest control.
For Nightmare on Elm Street.
I get it. Not the most clever use of it, but I'll allow it.
Still not the best one that you've seen.
No, still nothing quite gets to like
Jack be nimble,
this is
big
like
Jack be
Jack
dead.
be nimble, Jack be dead. I'm waiting for like one fish, two fish, no fish, dead fish, or something like that.
Something
one day.
like that. And under Burgers of the Day, I just went, uh-oh.
None.
So this is our first anthology episode of the series. This is another one of those things I was just talking about. They kind of follow a pattern.
Yeah.
At least, I want to say after this, at least once a season, they'll have an anthology episode where either the kids, the parents, they kind of all start telling their own stories and showing their real imagination. I love these. I think they're great. You get to see the personalities of each kid, and then eventually the parents kind of get into it, which is really fun as well.
Mm-hmm. I love these kinds of episodes because like The Simpsons does them all the time. Because sometimes you just need that. Like sometimes it's easier to write 3 shorter stories than really one big cohesive episode using your usual formula.
There's one that I know of that I really can't wait for you to see. That is Gale heavy.
Oh, interesting.
I can't remember what season right now. I'll look into it later. But like, I already know you're gonna love that season. I mean, that episode so much. It is all about Gale.
Okay.
But I do want to start off with this: that the original airing of this episode was dedicated to Oliver Miles Cross. He was the nephew of Lizzie and Wendy Molyneux, who are the writers of this episode.
Gotcha.
So definitely wanted to put that in there, which I felt like that's really sweet. I love when writers and people are like creators and stuff like that are able to do things like that.
Yeah.
Did you pick up though on what each of the kids' stories were parodies of?
So, I mean, for Louise, it just said X-Files, but I'm guessing it was something more specific than that.
Terminator.
Okay, that makes more sense. Well, because Frond Files, like, oh, it's X-Files. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Jeans was Footloose, I'm guessing.
Rock and Roll High School.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't never heard of that.
No, and I Tina's could be any teen movie ever. So
Tina's is Night of the Living Dead.
Okay.
Because remember, she's got a thing for zombies.
That's true. So the answer is, did I get them? The answer is no.
No.
I am 0-3.
0-3. Okay, so Louise's essay has a warning written across the cover. Did you happen to see that?
I saw that it was there. I didn't catch what it said, though.
So the warning says, the following story is top secret. Please do not read this unless you have a security clearance of 1 million or higher.
Okay.
Not that you like Frond, but this was also the first episode where they updated his design. He now has a smaller head and more detailed clothing.
Okay.
Not that we have to see him too often, thank goodness.
No, definitely not. I will say though, Louise's story was that was quite gripping for a 9-year-old to have written it. Right?
She's like, super intelligent.
Yeah, like I would watch that as a movie.
And Gene's, like, his makes sense for him. It's not my favorite, but it does make sense for him. And then Tina's, like, I can't help but love it. It's Night of the Living Dead. Like,
no, that's the kind of thing I've noticed, like, with, like, anything that's got, like, the 3 vignettes kind of thing. Somehow, the second story is always the worst. I don't know what formula that is. I've never seen an anthology episode with 3 stories where the middle story is not the worst. I've never seen that.
Mm-hmm. There was another reference, though, within this to a movie. Okay. But now I'm realizing you probably don't remember it because you told me recently you've only seen the movie once.
So
Which is killing me because...
Was there a Jurassic Park reference?
So, in Louise's story, when the kids are in the cafeteria kitchen, Jean's reflection deceives Mr. Frond's robot.
With
this
the
is a direct
raptors.
reference. Yep, this is a direct reference to the kitchen scene in Jurassic Park.
If you'd like to hear more about our thoughts about Jurassic Park, at this point, our first book club episode about Jurassic Park will be out.
We are reading books that are either adaptations of to film or retellings.
Yeah, so go to that episode to find out what the book we're reading at the moment will be. We haven't decided yet because we're recording this 2.5 months in advance.
We haven't actually read Jurassic Park at the moment.
No, we have
I've
not
read it. I've read it.
Lauren owns it.
Lauren has now bought it.
I have a copy. I'm gonna read it soon.
You got this.
I can do this. It's fine.
Another little flashback, though, to the other things that we've talked about before. Daryl's future appearance resembles Joseph Gribble, who was from King of the Hill, which we've talked about before. Mr. Frond was technically a character in King of the Hill.
Yep.
Whew, there's a lot of notes on this one. Like, it's a really well written. Like I said, the synopsis is not long, but I have so much to say about it.
Yeah.
So there's the books that Tina and Jean and Louise read outside of Mr. Fromm's office. I have the titles.
Okay.
God, so many fart references. So many farts. Are you there, God? It's me, fart. Okay. Fahrenheit, I can't even say it. Fahrenheit fart 51.
This is what happens when this is extremely appropriately written for an 11-year-old.
Exactly. The Adventures of Huckleberry Fart, written by Fart Twain.
Okay.
And then the last thing that I thought you would actually have some opinions on. Mr. Frond mentions his credentials are invalid.
Yes.
What he's referring to is the number of credit hours from a post-secondary program related to his field of educational service. In the state of New Jersey, which they put in parentheses on the wiki, the possible location of the show, but by now we know for a fact they're in New Jersey, and I thought that was hilarious. But that is a requirement to have a department-approved curriculum in school counseling with a minimum of 18 hours, and I'm just sitting here like, Lauren will have opinions.
I wrote down, Frond, your credentials don't exist. You are a self-certified school counselor.
Which I know you have feelings about.
I have a lot of feelings about. Well, because New Jersey has very strict regulations. The Northeast area, all of the states do. New Jersey more so than others, because New Jersey has very much, like, when it comes to public service things, like they even have like a New Jersey First program where basically most, if not all, I believe all, public service jobs, public teaching, public counselors, public librarians, they have to be residents of New Jersey. Like, you can't, like, if living where I live very close to New Jersey, I couldn't be a public librarian or a public school teacher in New Jersey.
Oh, wow.
I'd have to move across the border. So
the superintendent being in the school and Frond not having credentials is a big no-no.
It's a big thing. Well, because here's the thing is, it's a state thing, but also this is a magnet school, you said?
Mm-hmm. So because like Tina's technically a middle schooler, but the other two are.
So it may have different requirements, because I'm assuming they're still publicly funded, so it may still be subject to that. But like New Jersey has very specific requirements. So Frond being a counselor without the right credentials, I mean, outside of an animated TV show would never happen. But
can't even get hired like that.
No, you can't, because they do all that check. Like, you'd apply, and if you don't have the right ID numbers to attach your application, like, you're not even gonna get seen.
So yeah, I thought you'd have some feelings about that.
I have some thoughts.
But yeah, those are all my fun facts. I know I had a lot, but this one was just the wiki gave me so many amazing things that I got. Some really episodes are like that. For. Yeah. Oh yeah. And it being the first of the anthologies, I thought was like the perfect moment to get all this stuff. Like, I love all the parodies. Like, there's just so many parodies and references that I have never truly realized watching this show before. It's always just like, oh, that's funny, without realizing, like, no, like, people are making sure that they're even like to the minute detail in some senses.
This is what I say a lot about filmmaking and and media and stuff, is nothing is by accident. Like, even like we joke about the continuity errors on Once Upon a Time and all of that, like, they made the intentional choice most likely to just like go, they're probably not going to notice. Like it's all done. It's all done for a reason, whether like we think it's a mistake or not. So
this is my moment. What did you think?
I liked it. I think one of the lines that I wrote down about with Daryl coming back in time in the first one was, "You came all the way back here to be a narrator."
That's a good one.
That was a deep cut. I was like, that is fair. His sole purpose was to come back to be a narrator because his time machine wasn't working. He had to use Franz. But then I was like, why is his weakness creamed corn?
I think
How
it's
was
it's a thing. It's part of the reference to Terminator, but I can't tell you the last time I watched
yeah.
Terminator.
No, but I was like, how acidic is this cream corn?
I don't. Nope.
I don't want to know. I didn't write down too much with jeans just because that one, other than like, is this
Yeah.
a Footloose reference? Like, there wasn't really a whole lot on that one, and I said before with
Did
these
you
vignettes.
notice though Louise's ears?
Yeah, she had the piercings on the
The
ear.
little
I love
piercings in her
that.
ears.
That's the one thing I did like about that was I liked the new costumes that they gave all the characters. It's like it's close to their regular outfits, but just
Mm-hmm.
a little tweak, which was nice. Excuse me.
But which out of the three, which one did you like most?
Um, I think Louise's was my favorite of the three. I think I would rank them Louise, Tina, Jean.
That's fair because
Like that's a good because like I would say like, with the vignette kind of episodes, like the favorite is usually one or three. Like it depends kind of I guess on the episode and how it flows and everything. Like the
they put
Simpsons
the least strong one in the middle, so you can't be like, oh, I don't want to watch like
exactly. You're not going to skip the episode, but you're also not going to end it too soon.
yeah.
Because I was like this, I was trying to think of like a Simpsons anthology episode. I'm like they do Jurassic Park. That's what they are every single year. But the one that still comes to mind is the one that I mentioned a while back, like the Magical History Tour with
Mm-hmm.
the Anne Boleyn, like that one, like the Henry VIII was the first one. It's that one was Henry VIII. The middle one was the Adventures of Lewis and Clark, which was again very skippable, and then the last one was meant to be a tale of Mozart, but basically it was just the movie Amadeus, just with the kids though. Um, and it was like I between the two, between like the first and the last one, I honestly couldn't pick a favorite. They're both so good, but for two very different reasons.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Um,
that's the same. Like, cause the Family Guy, they did one that was Stephen King novels,
mm-hmm.
and I think if I remember correctly, the first and the third were definitely the best ones.
Yeah. But yeah, I get basketball player zombies. I maybe Louise, maybe Tina. Don't write erotic friend fiction for a school assignment.
But also, jock itch vaccination?
Is jock itch a thing, or did they make that up?
No, jock itch is a thing. I think it's
Okay.
like kind of like a fungal infection.
Like if like the I guess like irritation with like the cup and everything.
I guess you can get it there, but also in your feet.
Mm.
With like, because things get gross and sweaty. Wherever you can
Okay.
get too much sweat, if you don't clean it properly, you can get like a fungal thing going on.
Okay.
The joys of having children. I think Tina's story was my favorite though, but I'm a
Okay.
classic horror fan,
That's
so
fair. I did appreciate it, though. I was like, oh, Fran's feelings are hurt. Like more so, like just as much that these are not appropriate for public consumption, is that he was just personally offended. He was the villain in all of them.
which I find so funny because one of Gene's lines in Tina's story when Frond is getting eaten by the zombie is, "I wonder if she can taste his sadness."
Yeah.
Like the kids realize that Frond is not happy.
Yeah.
But oh my god, yeah, like he is so upset. I'm surprised that you didn't like Tina's more because I did write my last little note that I wrote for that though was Tina, our polyamorous queen.
Yeah. No, it's true. I
Like
wrote down Tina Honey, you can do better than zombie basketball players.
she could, but she's also interested in Jimmy Jr. So like
Yeah.
she's not to the age yet where her taste has matured.
This is true.
So yeah,
This is very true.
this was an episode.
This was good. This was a good episode though. I enjoyed this one. It was refreshing. I think this was the first time I split up watching the two episodes. I usually watch them together. But because I had to watch our Once Upon a Time episode this week twice. I say had to loosely.
Oh no.
I did my first run of the Queen of Hearts with episode 11, and then I did my second run with episode 12. I split it up that way. So
So what did you rate this?
This one gets a 9 for personal, a 9 for character, and it gets a 10 for plot because even though there isn't really plot, I like the inclusion of anthology episodes and like the triple like the vignette triplets. I think it's a very clever way to kind of help break up what could be a monotonous season of a lot of the same stuff. All like you see the same formulas like throughout most of the episodes. Like we start with some random because like with the Simpsons also like you start with some random non sequitur that has nothing to do with the plot of the episode, and yet we kind of through jokes and one liners and everything else we ease our way and we get into the episode, we get into the chaos, and then we have to bring ourselves back again to where everything started. Like that kind of formula can get taxing after a while.
Yep.
So I appreciate kind of breaking that up with the vignette. So that's why it gets the 10 for plot. So this gets a 28.
That's really good. Mine is oddly low.
Okay.
I gave it a 7 for plot. I like the anthologies, but I have the other anthologies already in my brain.
Yeah.
So out of the anthologies, this one doesn't do as well.
Okay.
They get better. They just get better.
That's fair.
There's one that I didn't really like care for, but I don't think that was an anthology. I think that was something kind of like different. It was another like movie parody one, but that could be anything. That gives nothing to you. Yeah. But character and personal, both 8.
Okay.
So this was only a 23 for me. But like I said, I have all the other ones already like in my head. So I'm like, wait, no, I know it gets good soon. Like,
and like 28 is not a bad score. Sorry, 23 is not a bad score at all. Like I don't with our score with our stats being I guess so wide, right? It's like it thinks like it seems like anything below a 20 is a bad score because I mean it is you take off a third of the episode of it at that point. But like truthfully, like we'll see this when we get to season 3 of Once Upon a Time because that season has some really really high highs for me and some really low lows. Like I will show you how critical of that show I can get. My scores will be sub basement level.
Oh, I'm excited for that though. I'm now looking. I'm trying to remember.
We shall see.
Oh, that's next season. Yay. Like my favorite episode is in season 5. Now I was trying to see where the next anthology is. And yes, it is. It's it's around the same time. The same time. The next one is season 5, episode 13. So it's starting to look like they do it around, I guess, the
midpoint. Same. The midpoint of the season. That makes sense.
I can't tell you when the other ones are though. It's fine. But no, I'm just next week is gonna be fun.
Oh.
The next episode you get to watch is Mazeltina.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. I'm not, but I'm sorry.
No, you're not. It's okay. You're not allowed to apologize because like I did this to myself, but I'm sure I will have thoughts.
You will definitely have thoughts, and I'll probably get more Jewish lessons.
Does it involve Tina going to a bar mitzvah?
Yes.
Okay. Like that's the natural assumption with that episode title. That'll be
but I don't know if you can pinpoint whose bar mitzvah it is.
Who's I don't know which kid would be Tammy. I don't know which kid would be Jewish.
Guess you'll find out next week. It's just fun. Now I see like you like doing it so much.
Now you see why I do it.
You'll know in 1 week. Well, less than that, but still.
Whenever I watch the episodes.
Whenever you watch the episode.
Now you know why it's so much fun to go like, it's a great question.
Great question. I'm not telling you.
No.
But the fact that it's only like a 20-something minute episode, and then you get to be like, haha, I knew. Like,
yeah, what's like doing this like with an episode that I'm gonna watch in a few days is not quite as bad as like when you start asking questions on like episode 9 of Once Upon a Time. I'm like, that's a great question. You'll find out the answer next season.
Yeah. See, I'm sitting here like
in 3 years.
Matter. Now I really cannot wait for you to see the Gale anthology though. I think that will be a 30 for you, hands down. And if you can, watch it with your girlfriend.
Okay.
Because she'd love it too.
Okay. Thank you all for listening. Join us next time when we discuss Once Upon a Time, episode 210, The Cricket Game. Don't forget to like, rate, and follow the podcast wherever you listen so you can be notified every time we publish a new episode. Follow us at OBDYK_pod on Instagram and TikTok. And if you'd like to join our new book club, you can find the link with more details in our show notes.
This has been an episode of Okay, But Did You Know? A TV and media podcast. It was hosted by Katie and Lauren and edited by Katie.